One chatty soca music hits ya. These songs are bringing the vibes to fix ya. When you see we getting on the bad, just so that we come from Trinidad. Let me see you when I go down, when I go down, when I go down. Let me see you when I come up, when I come up, when I come up. Let me see you when I go round, when I go round, when I go round. Let me see you wine and stop, wine and stop, wine and stop.
At the end of the day, it is clear that the current status quo with the Venezuelan regime is intolerable for the United States. The status quo, that they operate and cooperate with terrorist organizations against the national interests of the United States. Not just cooperate, but partner with and participate in activities that threaten the national interests of the United States. So yes, our goal is to change that dynamic. And that's why the president's doing what he's doing. Change that dynamic by ensuring that no one wants to get on drug boats anymore. You know, people were just going out there, you know, openly without any fear of the Reaper. And now I think people understand, like, it's not a good idea. By the way, we haven't had a strike in the Caribbean Basin in almost 5 weeks. Do you know why? It's not because we stopped looking. It's because no one wants to get on a boat anymore and do that. So it's been effective at cutting that down. People want to focus on regime this and this and that. The goal here is very simple. The national interest of the United States. The President of the United States was elected to protect the American people, to protect America. We're not concerned about an escalation with Russia with regards to Venezuela. I mean, we've always expected them to provide rhetorical support for the Maduro regime. I think they have their hands full in Ukraine. And if he's watching, Sergei, Merry Christmas. But at the end of the day, I expected them to say what they were going to say. The rhetorical support, we understand what that's at. It's not a factor in how we consider this whole thing.
And you know something else? I don't think people know this. Over 350,000 Trinidadians and Tobagonians hold U.S. visas. Over 350,000 Trinidadians Tobagonians hold what? A U.S. visa. Why? Because people like to go and visit the United States. How many of you going to other parts of the world? I won't name where. Over 300. Philip, did you know that? I checked and I found out. Over 350,000 Trinidadians. And they use this visa not to travel once, but they use it multiple times. Several times some people travel. So why are you bad-mouthing the people? You want to go in the people country, but you want to badmouth them. Isn't that hypocrisy from some? And careful, you don't end up like Antigua and Barbuda and Dominica, who badmouth in the US, and guess what happened? All their visas restricted now. They've cut their visas. Which Trini wants to cut their visas? So behave yourself. Understand where our help comes from. Understand who could protect and defend Trinidad and Tobago. Right now, there's only one country in the world can do it. They have the money, they have the equipment, they have the assets.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Yellow's the Code program on UNC USA. I have with me here Mr. Suman Singh, our lead technical analyst, and we would have the other partners joining us pretty soon. So, Mr. Singh, our Prime Minister has cautioned us on how we
Yes.
behave and how we use remote and how it can cost us. And I would like to get your response on that. Or what did you think?
Well, my response, good night to all listening audience, by the way. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to you all. Yes, I have very much an agreement with our Prime Minister. I myself happen to be in the same situation like yourself and a lot of other Trinidadians who frequent and live overseas in the US and come back and enjoy life in Trinidad and go back and so on. So it's free mobility and access to a country where we choose to travel to. Now, I was making the point, Gary, this week. If you have two boats parked up in Port of Spain or in the Gulf or in Sando, and you said, okay, these boats, one is to Caracas and one is to New York, and just get an idea which one will be filling first. You know, is the one for the US will be filling first, or the one for Caracas will be filling first? With Trinidad and Tobago citizens. Can you imagine what's going to happen? The one for the US might be sinking with people because there will be tens of thousands trying to get into a boat to go to the US. And the one to Caracas may barely have a small percentage who is willing to go there. So all in all, what the point is she's making is that, look, don't cut the hand that feed you. We are totally dependent on the US for our markets. We are totally dependent upon the US for our food stuff, our food importation. We are totally dependent on the US for our marketing. We are totally dependent on the US for aid and foreign direct investment. We are totally dependent on the US for repatriation of funds. A lot of Trinidadians repatriate their funds and so on to family and friends, and also sending barrels and food stuff around the holiday season, Easter, Carnival, Christmas, Diwali, Eid, and so on. So we have so much contact. Some things are happening for the benefit of our citizens. Now, think of it like this. Should the LNG train 1, 2, and 3, and 4 decide to close up shop, what's going to happen with our natural gas? Should a lot of these Phoenix Park gas, a lot of these petrochemical nutrients, and so on, Methanex and what have you. Methanex is Canadian, by the way. If these companies decide not to do business in Trinidad, or they don't have markets for it, their urea and ammonia and nitrogenous fertilizers and so on, what's going to happen with our economy if the US does not buy these commodities from us? So on one hand, we depend on the US for food. On the other hand, we depend on the US for our markets, to export our markets. And should there be any interference of either one of those, we end up starving both ways, by not getting food and by not being able to export. So the Prime Minister is very cautious in trying to alert citizens. Read between the lines, please, and see what's happening. Where is our situation? Why badmouth the US? Now, the US is no saint. There are people in the US who will disagree with what the government there is doing. But that doesn't concern us. We are fighting for our survival in the Caribbean space. And there should be nothing that will disrupt that good area of friendship between the US and TNT. Lest something happen and it jeopardizes our lifestyle, our economy, our ability to travel, as has happened to Antigua, Barbuda, and Dominica. Who knows who is next on that list? You know, so I'm very optimistic that the Prime Minister words are being heeded to by the population, as we can find ourselves in some dire straits if she did not take the stand which she took to allow the US and to support the US in the narcotics and trade out of the mainland. In addition to that, that what was mentioned, that blockade and what have you, that is being experienced right now, that no ships registered are allowed to go and trade in oil and so on. In fact, they seized one this past week, and they promised to do so to any ship that is registered, that is breaking the rules to transport oil and so on from Venezuela. What this says is that they want to create an embargo-like environment, so there's no trading with Venezuela from Iran and Russia, and some of the other countries that support Venezuela. I mean, it's narco-terrorism. Thirdly, we are living here in TNT and we're not seeing all the benefits accruing to us. Now, have we seen a sharp reduction in crime? 40%, 42%, 46%. There is a sharp reduction in crime. And why
Look at
is
the
that
screen.
so?
Look at the screen. Look at the screen.
Homicide down 66% in Port of Spain division. Why
When
is
last
that
have we
so?
seen that?
Never have we seen such a 2/3 reduction. So that means if there's 100 homicides, you're only seeing 33 now. From 100, there's a 66% reduction. So this is one of the additional benefits we are seeing. Of course, it's not only due to the American Southern Command and so on, but it's also due to our state of emergency, and both working in tandem, has resulted in this drop in the homicide rate. As you see, 66% in Port of Spain alone. So we are benefiting in multitude of different ways. And it's only a few people who have a vested interest in trading with Venezuela. And I mean trading not in oil or food, but you know what I mean, illegal immigrants, the whole thing of guns and ammunition, kidnapping, money laundering, prostitution, and what have you. This is what the trade is all about. So only those people who are in these negative or these sinful trades, they are the ones who is affected, and they're the one who is complaining. You know, so for normal average Chinese who benefit and who wants to see progress happening and who wants to travel and travel freely without restrictions, I mean, we should be thankful that Uncle Sam is, you know, riding the waves with us in this regard. So let those who complain and who says all these things about what's happening in a negative way, you ask them, okay, if they prefer to have a visa from Venezuela or one to the US, and you hear them. So again, we should be thankful that we have the US military to watch our backs in this time of urgent need. Now, I don't know if you recall, Gary, one of the main premise of the UNC was to halt the homicide rate, and they're well on their way to achieving that. So that's a deliverable which the PNM has been
Suman, I don't ever, I mean, in longest ever seen some kind of numbers like this. 66% down in Port of Spain. I mean,
but you know,
what's that telling you?
You know, where is the press to highlight these things and say, well, how come PNM was not able to arrest this situation for the past 10 years and was only chalking up record after record after record in homicides? And here's it, in 7 months, the UNC has been able to bring this to, I wouldn't say manageable proportions, but well on the way to being manageable. You know, so one, that is much too many. So, but all things said and done, we may be heading to at least 200 less homicides this year than compared to last year. And all because of efforts taken by the UNC and strategies adopted. So you see, we are benefiting in so many different ways. And people have to wake up and see. Look at the data, look at the statistic, look at the level of comfort, the comfort zone of people. You know, that's what's called sentiment, Gary. The sentiment analysis is that element of fear, while it's still there, it's like a burden being relieved from your shoulders. Not completely, but it's well on the way of getting there. People feel safer. People feel that, you know, you can go about the normal business. Not to the extent which you would like to in earlier years, but to an extent you feel a lot more freer to travel and so on. I don't know if you know, but the level of criminal activities has been, how should I say this? It's been stymied to a large extent, that the monies are hard to find for the criminals. Drugs are hard to find, which means that prices based on supply and demand, the demand is there, but the supply is not there. So
But you know,
what that
Suman, you're going to see that increase in home invasion,
yes,
and
that is
and
this is
and with
why I'm going there, Gary. This is why they need exactly what we have been saying to ramp up this FUL, you know, where people can get their ammunition to protect themselves. And we've been touting this for the past couple of weeks. That the one-man show of this commission alone to give these or to award firearms, that process had to be revamped and revamped very, very quickly, because the alternative, seeing that the funding for these criminals are drying up, they will have no choice but to increase not so much homicide, but a lot of stealing, theft, home invasion, these serious crimes, but barring homicides. They will be into a lot into, thefts of property, thefts and going to homes and so on, holding up bars and these things, eating establishment, doubles vendors and food vendors and so on. Those type of crimes, because the money supply of these criminals are drying up, because the drug supply is drying up. So that's why I'm saying we need to revamp the process in getting the firearms and get it out to people as quickly as possible. And my estimation, what I suggested, if there are 10 criteria to get a firearm and someone meets all 10, which you can check with an AI program, they should get that within a week, but after you've done your training and so on. There should be nothing holding you back. If someone met 9 of the 10 criteria, let them be aware that, hey, you need to meet this other one which you fall short of, and the application is complete after that once you have fulfilled that last requirement. Those who have had 8 of the 10, criteria as well. This is the process. So you don't have a guy who has met 9 criteria to get in a FUL and someone who has met only 2 criteria, that they're all jumbled up and they're waiting. Give priority in an order. There must be order in this. So the guy who has only 1 criteria to be fulfilled and the guy who has 9 criteria to be filled, you don't lump them together. Peter Rose should not be paying for Paul. So again, these are ways you can sidestep the issues, you can expedite it, and thirdly, you can bring in a lot more people besides the commissioner of police to do the final sign-off on applicants to get FUL. That's the divisional heads from the area where you live. If you live in the southwest or the southeast, the divisional heads, anyone above a certain rank should be able to, assess your application and give you on merit, just on plain merit. So the process of getting the FUL has to be revamped, and so that it be better adjudication, an expedited way. No one should have to wait 2 years or even a year and a half, 18 months to get the fire. Once you meet the prerequisites, bam, and you met the minimum training required, you should be able to get it for most within a month. And as you rightly said, there may be an increase in home invasions and so on because money is tight in the economy. And as we're talking about money, public servants got their back pay recently, this past week. So there's a fair amount of money circulating. in the country for this time of the year. So again, it's an avenue to bring out the guys who are after the money. They probably be in every nook and cranny of the country, waiting to look for an opportunity to, see what they can get. So, yes, as we see this thing here, all salaries and back pay paid. So this has certainly pumped some monies in the economy, and it can stimulate business activity. But as I always say, a good economist will always tell you that when money is circulating in the country, make sure that the foreign exchange is not eaten out by companies who just buy and sell and does not produce anything to make more foreign exchange. In other words, companies just being involved in consumer activities that don't generate no foreign exchange. Our priority should really be, yes, you need the consumables, potatoes, you need to import potatoes and wheat and what have you. But do we need Forex to import tomato and cucumbers and eggplant? Do we need foreign exchange to do those things? And dragon fruit.
Welcome, Nadira, Steve, and I saw one more person here, Marilyn. Yeah, welcome, guys. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah. So these consumable items, Gary, why should foreign exchange be given to only or mostly to companies that do not or are not involved in generating foreign exchange in TNT, but rather than importing consumable items and selling it, and no build out of assets in the country takes place? And I saw an article this week, this past week, to show a good example is PriceSmart. Now, I'm not knocking any particular company, but I'm just making the point with PriceSmart. They probably get over 100 million in parks. To do what? Who are the shareholders of PriceSmart? It's a NASDAQ listed company in the US stock market. So whatever profits they make in Trinidad and Tobago, well, in Trinidad because they don't have no outlet in Tobago, those profits are repatriated in the form of foreign exchange back to the home office. So it's a way of bleeding the economy. They're not building any assets for the country. They're just using our Forex to bring in goods and services from the US, selling it at a profit and sending the money away. So we have to, allocate Forex in a way whereby entrepreneurs, small businesses, medium-sized businesses, and so on, can be invested in plants and equipment and employment to generate more assets. That can bring in foreign exchange by selling these assets. Furniture, fixtures, let's say we do some value added in computers, we start assembling some stuff, computers, and we start to encourage young people to learn coding and so on. You can develop your own apps and what have you to sell these apps and make money as private entrepreneurs. Now we're going in that era, era of AI and technology. But to what extent are we or anyone is developing these bots or agents, as they call them, to help drive a business? No, we are only consumers. We keep on buying the software and so on. We're not developing anything. We're just buying. So how do you change that? How do you change that from being buyers to being producers? Well, if we get into that bandwagon of developing technology and AI to bring that into the workforce, for the workforce to apply the knowledge from these, what's called disruptive technology, if we can be, like the little Singapore in the Caribbean, because they are bright. We have bright people in TNT, though. Let us not fool ourselves. Very, very bright people who can learn these systems, these coding, the mathematics, the physics, the statistics, in a very short space of time. And we can jump ahead and leapfrog the rest of the Caribbean as far as my estimation goes. And that's why we propose, when I say we, our group proposed that we use the DB campus in addition to what the Prime Minister wants, that is, she wants the law faculty. But in addition to the law faculty, let that be the MIT of the Caribbean. Let the DB campus be the MIT of the Caribbean. We can take advantage of Modi's offer to bring in high technology professors and administrators and so on in the area of data science and computer technology and AI and what have you. And let the rest of the Caribbean come to TNT to study these subjects in artificial intelligence and data science. That's a good way to spin off and get Forex.
Suman, as you're speaking about that, I would like to play this this video, and then you could continue with the one I was playing earlier. I think this is the one with let me see here. Hold on a second. I was talking about here. Let me see. 1 second. Let me see if this is
Studying abroad used to be a dream, but now it's a calculated decision. If you're a student who wanted to study abroad, 2025 may have been a bit of a nightmare for you, because this year immigration emerged as one of the biggest stories. Not just in the US, where Donald Trump has weaponized visas, but also in the UK, Canada and Australia. These countries have been the biggest student destinations abroad, and this year they began shutting doors. They issued fewer visas, increased the scrutiny of applicants and imposed stricter controls, and also made a clear preference for rich and highly skilled talent. So the students began recalibrating. Their enrollments went down. In fact, fresh data is out. This is from India's Ministry of External Affairs. It was tabled during the winter session of Parliament, and this is what it shows. Currently, more than 1.8 million Indian students are studying overseas. This is across 153 countries. Out of these, 1.2 million are enrolled in universities or higher education courses. 1.2 million. Now, this number is lower than last year. Last year, in 2024, over 1.3 million students were enrolled. That means university-level enrollments have dropped. Fewer Indian students are heading out. And what is driving this decline? Well, one of the major reasons, of course, is visa rejections. And we'll start with the United States here. The US issues an F1 visa for students. This year, Indian students received fewer F1 visas. They were down by more than 43% in the first half of 2025. And that's a big fall, 43%. India has been the top recipient of F1 visas since 2021, but this year has changed that. The US government is tightening immigration rules. There are more checks. Visa appointments are being cancelled. Even social media profiles of applicants are being scrutinized. And a similar story is playing out in Canada. In 2023...
You're right, sir. Go ahead.
Yes. She is absolutely correct, and that is Palki Sharma.
Welcome, Richard. Thank you. And also, I see Ken joining us.
Correctly.
Good night. Good night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Richard,
Yes. So there,
are you hearing us, right, Richard? Okay.
Yes, I'm hearing.
Okay. So, we were just discussing opportunities with Trinidad, and I don't know if was able to catch that video about the visa cancellation. So, that would be a perfect opportunity, I think, for us in the Caribbean, to do that, to create that atmosphere of and capitalize on the opportunity of foreign students, So,
if I may
um,
add one more thing, Gary, before
yeah, go
you
ahead. Go
move on
ahead.
to Richard, what while the U.S. has been, declining the amount of F1 student visa, a lot of other countries are opening up the same the same opportunities for Indian students. Finland, Germany, Scandinavia, the three Scandinavian countries, Norway, Sweden, Denmark. Once you meet the criteria, New Zealand is it. Now, the European countries, Germany, Scandinavia, Finland, and what have you, but these are not part of the US so called regimes. They have seen that a lot of talents that are being rejected in the US because they cannot get F1 student visa. They're giving these students opportunities to come to their countries, to study and also work after they are qualified. So it's a shift, and pretty soon the day the Indian students decide to leave Silicon Valley and go back to wherever they come from, there could be a total collapse of a number of big, large multinationals like Apple and Google and Microsoft and Oracle and big companies that use a lot of software, Amazon.com, what have you. So it's a chicken and egg situation, and right now the US talent pool is dropping so fast that Apple and Microsoft and Google and so on have gone to set up shop in India. They have gone to set up shop in India because of the foreign policies of the current Trump administration. So it is when you think you're suffering someone by not giving them an F1 student visa and repatriating them back after they have qualified, you are also losing as a developed country because that training. And by the way, I was part of that as well. I can tell you that most of the students doing higher education in the US are mostly those from other countries other than the US. You go to Boston every year and you will see what I'm talking about. Like 60 to 70% are already foreigners who are doing higher education. So
And that is
that's
true.
the scenario.
That is correct, Saman.
Yeah,
Absolutely
I know.
correct.
I bet.
Let's pick up with Richard for a little bit. Richard might have a little short time here. So, Richard, I want to welcome you to the program. We're just looking at as an opportunity here where Trinidad and Tobago can capitalize on what's taking place there. But Richard, I want you to tell us about what you've been up to. I want to play a little video first, and then I'll let
Well,
you comment.
before
Go ahead.
before
Go
you
ahead.
play on the topic, excuse the voice, I have a sore throat. On the topic with respect to the US and Trinidad and visas and so on, there's a lot of information. I didn't get the whole thing, but there are a lot of articles um, circulating with respect to that. And one of the main things that the Prime Minister is saying is that why is it people concerned so much about Venezuela when we do sort of absolutely no trade with them in a sense. People do not want to go Venezuela, and we have over 350,000 people with visas, with U.S. visas. So it is sort of donkey logic or just pure opposition, those who are against, those who are anti-UNC, that people are making an issue out of this. And most interesting, I don't know if you would have seen an article by Derek Ramsamuj. He's a professor. He went to Caracas last week and he brought back a report and to say that people in Caracas, they are going about their daily business. Malls are open. People are shopping. People are doing everything. And there's no conversation on the ground as to this this situation with Trump and Maduro. He is saying that is the least of their problem. They are celebrating Christmas. They are doing what they have to do. And the rhetoric lies with the politics and the people at governmental level. And it's not really affecting the nationals on the ground in Venezuela. I don't know if you all would have heard anything about that.
Yeah, I saw that. He said things are normal. That even what's going on externally is not really phasing them. But you more see Trini getting worked up about the whole situation and creating all this drama.
Well, who getting worked up is those who are anti-UNC. So they just want something.
Well, and the PNM, of course, will be pushing that, the PNM base, you know.
The cash flow is just
Yes, that is correct.
But you know, last night we mentioned the SOFA agreements and all these agreements in place that allows the US to be there. So I don't know why they should be getting worked up for. You're correct, right?
Yeah.
And the acquisition of cross-servicing agreements, right? All of these different agreements were signed just December 10th, 2024. So I don't know why the PNM are acting like a bunch of fools and getting all worked up and making a fool out of themselves when agreements are already in place to facilitate the US and their presence there.
And signed and approved by the then government of Trinidad and Tobago.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, Richard, go ahead.
Just hold a second for me.
All right, guys, you can talk until Richard comes back in.
Yeah, so madam, you made a good point. I went to New Jersey Institute of Technology, NJIT, and I did my undergraduate and graduate, and they were mainly 90% foreign students, right? And I would want to say out of that 90%, right, we had about 85% of Indian descent from the mainland, from India and Pakistan.
Chinese and Pakistani.
Now, when you get to graduate level, again, a lot of Indians. When you get to the PhD level, a lot of Indians and Chinese.
Yep.
So
when you go to PhD programs, is higher than the 60-70%. It goes up to the 90th percentile.
Yeah.
Foreigners and mostly Indian and Chinese. And just about every sphere, especially in the STEM sphere, the science, technology, coding, mathematics, engineering fields.
Even on Wall Street, you have a lot of these Indians.
Because these is mathematics.
They're writing these algorithms that actually runs the entire market. Correct. Because the market today is all computer trading. Right?
It's all computer trading. You're so right. And the computers can think so much faster and analyze so much data than a human can. So the programs do what's called program trading. And that's the system can shut down if there's a 10% drop in the market and so on to stabilize. There are lots of things a program can do for you. And all being done electronically. So these guys who write these programs are mostly mathematicians and also software engineers. And who are the people who do these high-level studies? Are the foreigners. So this is what Modi is saying. Okay, you want to send back all the Indians to India? We'll take them back, but you will suffer more. you meaning America will suffer more, and we will gain more. We will leapfrog America.
But I think Richard is
As
back
well.
there.
Gary, I've had an emergency, boy.
Okay, no problem.
My wife, something with her V.
Okay, no problem. We will talk.
I'm going to attend to it.
Oh, yeah, no
But
problem.
take care.
So we will sorry about this, but we'll continue this.
Definitely, no problem.
As soon as you're available next time.
Yeah, my apologies.
All right, then.
Sunday, I'll come and do that.
All right, then.
Sorry
Thanks.
about- All right, take care.
All right. Take care. Stay safe. Yes,
Yes.
Sumad,
Yeah.
as you were
As
saying.
I was, yeah, if they decide to send back or repatriate all these Indians, what happened? The Indian economy will get so strong, the American economy will get so weak, and you can have a shift in the world powers geopolitically. Because as you know, Ken, 40% of the engineers in Silicon Valley are Indians.
But
Could you imagine?
guys, listen to me. That is a threat to a certain class of people in this country here. Okay? The shade and complexion of those employees is a problem. They're not directly saying it, but this administration, right?
So you see, what is
associated with those who are threatened. That's why all these restrictions are taking place.
Yes,
all right?
correct. Absolutely. Absolutely. So all these high technology workers and deans of hospitals and doctors and so on who do cutting edge research, if these people go back to India, what's going to happen to the US? That's why you see.
Nothing's going to happen to the US. The
No,
US
no,
has
no,
people.
No, Gary.
Listen, they believe, listen to me. They have people of a certain complexion who believe that these jobs should belong to that. Right?
That's right.
And that is what they want. Okay?
Yes.
That is where the problem is.
Apple, Amazon, the biggest companies, Google, Microsoft, Oracle, Micron Electronics, these 6 big companies, Palo Alto Networks, who does the security of these computers, large computer centers and so on. These companies have shifted operations, so they're all going to set up shop in India. Google is building the biggest data center. Data centers are used to drive the AI process.
But I want to set up shop in Trinidad and Tobago.
I would like to. I wanted to set up shop as of TNT having a data center in Trinidad. Now the reason is that data centers are what you call electric guzzlers. Right?
That's the point.
The point is
you
that
need the energy to have that
energy, and we are the only. If we can utilize our natural gas and get a cheap source of electric power, we can run data centers. We can make millions. We can be rich out of.
And we still are not capitalizing on solar energy where we are situated in the equator. Okay, we have not really touched solar energy.
What about wind energy? You go down Guayagari and Mayaro and Manjan, and that breeze 24/7.
What about geothermal?
Geothermal as well, yeah, that's been wasted.
I can't recall or even think that there's a geothermal system in Trinidad and Tobago.
No, one of these big companies use cogeneration, using the heat from the buildings and ACs and refrigeration systems and so on, like in hotels, boilers and, these massive air conditioners. You regenerate, you use back that, that capture, I should say, some of that energy to reuse. The same thing. So it's a lot of different ways we can do these things. But again, you require people with vision. I wouldn't say people will require your higher ups, your ministers and those planners and these type of people with the vision to do these things. And that's where we'll be sadly lacking, because we have the people, but the right people are not put in the right positions. You have ministers just because you win a seat to become a minister, but it could be done stupidly as far as I'm concerned. You know nothing about the administration, but because you have won your seat, you're given a ministerial portfolio. If that's the way the system operates, well, let it be. But we miss the good people, the people who are, capable of doing things, and we have a lot of that talent in TNT, whether they reside here locally or they reside in the US or the developed countries. We do have a skilled pool of implementers, but the politics play a different role, as you know.
Well, this government, right, the UNC, are cutting out the wastage. And as the whole thing unravels, we saw an article today. I didn't get to really read the whole thing. I just glanced it through, where we leased a ferry, right, in Cobusta or something,
I know what I got.
for a ridiculous amount of money. Someone correct me if I'm wrong here. Was it 108 or 160 something $1,000 a day?
114,000 US a day.
A day?
Yeah.
I thought that was a week, or I thought they made a typo there.
I thought it was a typo, but they got it down to like 27 or something thousand after it was
a public outcry.
Yeah.
I think it was 16.
And why?
But again,
what gets
but
me?
then again, you and I going to the bank to get some foreign exchange to travel and spend and or purchase something. We can't get a bed for $200 a day. Sorry,
200. You get 200 a week. 200 a week. You get 100 today and 100 by Friday. So it's a week, 200 a week.
Yeah. So this is madness, wastage. Right? Wastage beyond.
Yeah, taxi fare to get from your airport to the hotel and back.
Correct. So, there's a lot of wastage happening, a lot of wastage that occurred over the last 10 years. Nothing to account for except dilapidated infrastructure, the worst of the roads we've ever seen. The worst of the roads I've ever seen in my whole life living there.
Yes.
Right? Never seen roads neglected. And let's not even talk about crime. Right? Yeah. Historic crime. And somebody might probably say, hey, Ken, why you keep talking about crime?
No,
why? It is a big deal. And everybody, the entire the PNM, we said it yesterday. We couldn't have said it better. The PNM is an enemy to the state. That is what they are, and they have earned that title. They have earned that title.
So that's why they are complaining now that the crime rate has fallen.
Well, they're grasping for straws. They have nothing to talk about, right? They were talking about the U.S. military presence there. When they sign agreements, I mean, the level of stupidity you see there sometimes, right? They have the SOFA agreement, they have the ACSA agreements, along with 3 other agreements signed, where we have full cooperation and exchange of logistics and stuff, right? With the US. So I don't know what is the big complaint outcry. But again, if the pipeline is cut and the informal economy is impacted, which they are probably facilitating in somehow, some form, right? Then you will hear everybody's barking, right?
Absolutely.
They will show their true hand.
And they have.
The Prime Minister has a responsibility to rebuild our economy, and she's maintaining and strengthening our relationship with our greatest business partner and trade partner, where our greatest revenue comes from. United States provide the necessary security for us also. There's so many ways that we do business with the United States. Of course, the United States will take a priority, but she wants our people to watch your mouth, because your mouth can cause you and TNT to be in trouble.
Like what Camille Robinson just said, what Trump could do.
I mean, whether we like it or not, I mean, what this man is doing, the thing about it is we have a relationship with the United States of America. regardless of who the president is, right?
Yes.
And we maintain a very close relationship. We have so many agreements that signed in national security, various things. Here's a little copy of, let's see what this is with. Okay, here we go. So they want a back, right? So we seen where Mark Rubio met with Chiu Tiong, and here we seen where the commitment between the United States and Trinidad and Tobago, where our prime minister, right? So what are they really trying to pull? We saw where the agreement was signed between in the previous administration. Then let them tell us what they signed here. What did they sign there, right, gentlemen? Tell us what you signed there. And you want to back up against the prime minister now, right?
And she wants, Penny wants the prime minister to disclose every single aspect of these contractual obligations. What is it you're signing? What is it? She wants an explanation of every single piece of
Like
data.
them explain anything to we? Did they ever explain
Nothing.
anything to we?
Nothing.
Tomorrow is quite simple. On December 10th, 2024, the PNM government signed 5 agreements. Right?
Yes.
And if they have some kind of memory loss or something, right, they could go and look at the hard copy and read it and interpret it. Right?
No.
I mean, I
Yeah.
expect them to have that intellect. You don't sign something without reading it and understanding the what is contained in the document. Right? Like the SOFA agreement. Right? The status of forces agreement.
Sometimes
Where the
I
military
think
will cooperate with our
some-
local TNT forces. Then we have the acquisition of cross-servicing agreements, ACSA, right?
Mhm.
Allowing mutual exchange of logistical support, supply services between the U.S. Department of Defense and Trinidad and Tobago forces. So they signed that, and why are they pretending to be, dumbstruck?
Well,
Like
you see,
trying to build an argument.
This is my point, and I'm
So one more
strongly.
thing I want to say, Samad. Did you guys read that article,
Yeah.
those documents before you sign it? Fitzgerald
No,
Hines and the fellow with the coal pot and all these people, or Dr. Rowley, did you guys read those documents before you signed it?
I don't think so.
So why are they playing
But-
dumb now?
But they think everybody in this country is stupid, like their
Stupid.
supporters.
Correct.
This
Well said.
is exactly the point. They think everybody in Trinidad and Tobago are stupid like their supporters. So because their supporters will swallow everything that they say without reading anything, reading between the lines or asking questions.
Well, no.
On top of that,
Sumad, they think their supporters are stupid like them, right?
Nobody supporters are stupid. Their supporters are stupid. They don't read. They don't read. So they will just follow everything the politicians say. They believe, blind faith.
Yeah, but we're seeing that change that there's a change in tide here, right?
I hope
100,000
so.
persons
I
didn't
hope so.
vote
We can
or voted for the
maintain.
UNC.
Yeah,
And we are seeing that shifting, and we have to embrace that, right?
definitely.
And we have to
definitely.
continue to build on that. So I would say
Mhm.
to all of them who feel as though they haven't gotten anywhere in the last 10 years or whatever, right?
There's an
Don't be afraid of
opportunity.
change. Don't be
Yeah.
afraid of change, right?
Correct.
And if you want,
Embrace
take a
it.
chance with something, right? And see if it's going to work for you. And if not, go back to what you're accustomed to.
Yeah.
It's that simple. But
Simple like
when
that.
these politicians come and asking people, the present government, hey, what are you signing? What is going on here? Why do you have the military build up here? Why are we allowing the military equipment and planes to land in the Robinson Airport and the Piaco Airport? We have agreements. You guys sign the agreements. Go and read it and try to interpret it. Or if you can't interpret it, get some legal advice. Go out for some advice on it. It's simple, plain English, right?
Yeah.
We had a military expert, Captain Singh. He mentioned whenever the U.S. Army goes anyway, they will sign that SOFA agreement, right? To conduct their business and so forth, and build their bases, etc.
Now here, Marilyn. Marilyn is in the chat here. She's listening in the audience, and if you look at the screen, what she's saying, her daughter, is a mechanical engineer. All right, She's Indian, but the complexion. I'm telling you guys, we have to focus on building TNT. We have to
That's correct.
focus on restructuring TNT to a place where our people don't have to go elsewhere for the things that we left the country for. And I always admire the fact that my daughter, like I said the other night, she came home with a school friend about she was 6 years old, and she told a friend, "I'm a Trinidadian, but I was born in America." And it was funny at the time, but she knew. I didn't tell her she was a Trinidadian. In her mind, she knew she's a Trinidadian, right? So the thing about it is, here we have to really be conscious because a lot of us not, we left Trinidad. Some people doesn't want to admit they're from Trinidad, but the thing about it here is that we have to realize there is no place like TNT. We will never ever be happy like the way we was in TNT. No matter what level of wealth you had, you had a great life. Even as poor as you were, you had a safe country, and we had good people to be among. It's just a few fools running around the country trying to tear up things. Like the commissioner of police said, there's 150 guys wreaking havoc in the country. You know what I mean? So let's focus on what we set out to do in engaging our diaspora to come on board and to focus on the development of TNT. We have no say in this country, even though we may be citizens. To really decide how this country runs, let's focus on TNT.
Yep.
That's correct, Gary.
Right.
That's right. Well said. Gary,
The-
my son, my two kids are born in the States here. And right now, one of them has a big Trinidad flag on his wall, right? And he said, "Dad, this is a beautiful place." So I want to see Trinidad and Tobago improve. I want to see it safe for the future generations to come.
Yeah.
So
I-
it's important that we.
Same situation with me. And
Yeah.
my son
I
was
think
born
every
in
law-abiding citizen in Trinidad and Tobago wants the same thing, right?
feels the same way. Yeah, your
Correct.
home is
We
your
have Dr.
home.
Maraj just came on board. Good night,
I
Dr.
mean,
Maraj.
welcome, Dr. Raj. Just think about what's keeping most of us outside of TNT: crime and the healthcare.
Yeah. Yep.
Business opportunity, we don't need government help. In TNT, we could build ourselves. What has caused most of us to flee from TNT? Crime. And the secondary thing was healthcare. But the crime is the most pressing issue because you can't even sell on your sidewalk or under your house or do any business. You are
Okay.
getting brutalized by those mostly from the PNM constituencies. Let's call it as it is. That's why Cole Portman was so defensive on the home invasion bill, because he know pretty well that where
It's
most of the people that's wreaking havoc in the country comes from PNM districts, right?
Control.
Right?
Yeah.
That's
So
correct.
I mean,
That's correct.
let's listen back to the commissioner of police here.
I ain't take much of them, I took out about 160 something preventative detention orders. We caught about 80 or 90 thus far. And you have almost a 50% drop in crime. So you mean to tell me 150 people, 90 of them who we have, and the rest of them in hiding, have 1.3, 1.4 million people living in fear? Which rich, right-thinking citizen would want to advocate on behalf of the criminal element? Who? When we are all have been victims of crime in one way or the other.
Which right-thinking citizens, gentlemen? The Cole Portman. Which right-thinking citizen? Port of Spain South. Right? Isn't that true?
Yep.
Port of Spain South is
Yeah.
the right-thinking citizen that wants to advocate. The police commissioner is asking that.
But Gary, you see, Port of Spain, the city of Port of Spain, crime has been down by 6 homicides, rather, has been down
66%.
by 66%. That means I was making the statistics out of 166 persons less. So it's only 33. 33 persons has been affected. So that's a massive, massive reduction. But you know
Marilyn
what?
or anyone listening in the audience, if you are willing to join us in conversation and you wish to make a contribution, feel free. Let me know. I will post the link in the chat here for you guys in the stream here if you want to.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice. But you know what? The press, I always hark on the press, the role of the press, by not highlighting these initiatives and these deliverables of the party. You know, the UNC that is. We just can't hear it in the post-cabinet briefing. It needs to be highlighted along the way, 24/7, prime time, as Dr. Maharaj will say, at least bi-weekly or so, and be on the press and the news and everything else. Now, I was mentioning the leader of the opposition is asking the PM to outline, give the details of everything that is being done. But under the PNM, no one has questions. And no one furnished questions and answers. No one furnished the question, the press that is. So all of a sudden, both the opposition and the press seem to have found their voices to ask questions on these things. Why should the Prime Minister give details to you, the opposition leader, when you all never did nothing to give, not even the people?
I'm starting to get a feedback, Suman. I don't know what's going on with your mic, but you were doing fine. All of a sudden, I started getting feedback from you.
Okay, should be better. No? Or you still getting the feedback?
I think it's better.
Okay. Yeah. How come
Look,
all
Suman,
of
let me just make a quick point. What classic case, Delcy Rodriguez, when they flew across here, right, during when time in COVID, when the entire place was locked down and there were restrictions galore, right?
Mm-hmm.
No one knew anything about that impromptu meeting. What transpired? Was the meeting minuted? Right? There are no meeting minutes, right? So we don't know if they brought something illegal or plane full of cocaine or money, or they were laundering some money or something, some illegal activity, because she too is considered part of that narco terrorist organization there, right? So we have to treat them accordingly, right? So again, coming back to what you said, they were doing stuff without the knowledge of anyone, closed door. It was all closed door, right? And they were very arrogant about it.
The press, they are not questioning anything. The press, they are not questioning anything. But all of a sudden, Penny and the press seem to have found their voice. They want explanations about every details of everything signed. And to me, I would have leave their butts right there and don't answer anything that they're asking for. You don't have to account to the people, not to them.
That's correct.
Let the people see. Let the people see your deliverables. Let us see your outcomes. So that's my point. But Dr. Penny, you have to account to Penny and the press anymore. Those days.
Dr. March?
Yeah.
How are you doing there, Dr. March? Say something.
Oh, not yet. Just hearing, listening a little more. And see, I was talking about the crime. I just want to tell that commissioner one more thing. I mean, last night I already told you what I told him. But
you have to tell him plenty things, Doc. Plenty things.
Yeah. I told you about the vehicle yesterday every 5 miles. If it's 60 vehicle and every 5 miles, it's 300 miles. Trinidad doesn't have 300 miles of road to cover for crime. So you could have 100 vehicles every 2 miles away, and they could respond to a crime 24/7. So what I want to tell him also, he talked about you all mentioned it again tonight. He talked about the 60, and then he got 90, so that leaves a 70 out there still. I wonder if
Yep.
you realize that these numbers are growing. You think this number is stagnant? I don't know. You have many people now who do join, maybe joining, see the life of crime as a possibility because they hardly getting convicted and they hardly. So I just stamping out the growing numbers. You know, recently,
But
you all talk, I'll give you a chance, just jot down before you say anything. So recently, there was a gentleman who was, I think was an SRP, who tendered his badge saying that his mom was killed, and he appealed to the police, and the police was too slow, they didn't do anything, and he vexed with the police, and he threw his badge out. Yeah, you know,
yes, that's
that,
right, sir.
yeah, you resign at the police station and say, I will write me in coming in as constable so and so, and write me leaving as civilian so and so. Remember that incident, everybody? Right?
Yes,
Remember
I
that?
Yeah.
remember that clearly.
What? Sorry?
He turned in his uniform and everything else.
Yeah, he turned in everything and walk away because they're not taking care of him. This guy was a peeved guy because if he working in police and his mom cannot be protected, what the hell am I doing in police and my family exposed? So he walked out, and that message get lost. Why does so this commissioner there's a lot of things in there besides just saying there's 90 and you catch 60 and therefore 70 still outside there and you catch 90 and still 90 still there. That doesn't tell anybody anything. Look, guys, show you. Princestown, Gerald store hit 342 armed robbery in the morning, in the daytime, daylight. I don't know where this jewel store is, but the police, there is no store away from the police station more than a quarter mile. So the police station would have been quarter mile from this is a robbery in the morning. That robbery happened right near a police station like that, and they run away. This is not a store in Barrackport. This is a store in Princeton. I guess it's only have one street in Princeton, one main street. That's called High Street, where they have all the stores.
Yeah.
So this is a stone throw away that this police couldn't grab these people, couldn't nab them. You have Daybland police station to the east, and you have more Barrackport to the west, to the south. South. I don't think you have anything in the north. There's no police stations. They run away in the north. There's nothing until they reach way up in Breach. Maybe you might get another station up in north. So the guy, the last time I said it, I repeat it again. The guy might be trying his best, but my best is better than their best. So they have to come up to my best. Alexander best may be their best. Alexander also have improved his best, so the better can meet the best.
Yeah.
So, you got to answer this. I know the press. That's what the press would answer them.
No,
Say, Mr.
no,
Commissioner, what comfort do you have that guy who walked into the station, walked back civilian? Why am he leaving? Because they couldn't protect his mother. He, the police and his mother are protected. What the hell am I doing uniform? Take your damn uniform and you're gone and I walk out. That's the embarrassment to the police. That is bigger embarrassment than some police last night were sleeping in the car and they take away the gun and run with it. What all kind of crap is this going on in your police service itself? Last night, you.
Doc, but you don't know the fact that I hope that you look more deep into the story, because the young man's mother who hung herself, he is stating that there was no way that she could have hung herself climbing up on that particular tree. Then he was found to be hanging.
Right.
So he hung himself too in a very suspicious thing. So what he is declaring is there was some very suspicious things happening within his range of his unit and his surroundings within the police, that he lost confidence, and they let him down. His colleague let him down. They didn't stand up with him. He was disappointed with that. And everything seems to be very suspicious around this whole situation. And we do need the commissioner to clean up.
So you're saying that the guy wouldn't commit suicide after that, right?
Yeah, it was in the news. Maybe you didn't see that. I posted
Even
it.
more worse. Okay. The police must be indicted on manslaughter for two reasons. One is that the mother wasn't taken care of, and then when he went and he committed suicide, the police is responsible. That is the tort law. I said Trinidad have updated tort law where you could sue the government for wrongdoing like
I saw
everybody
the
else.
tree where his mother was supposed to be hanging from, and it's kind of impossible for this lady to make it up that high tree the way that they claim that she did by herself, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of suspicious things taking place, and he lost trust in his colleagues, and I mean he was very disappointed. But there are far too many incidents with the management of the TTPS, and I mean the commissioner is making a try. I mean he's taking a stand, but he needs to clean house around him.
I
He
think
needs
they
to
need,
up the game.
they,
He needs
they
to up
need,
his game. His game is too low. His game is not good enough to clear. He has to do some. I'm not blaming him. In the sense that he has to up the game. Tell them, look, I'm human, and I'm incapable of solving everything. So all help on suggestions are welcome. A million and plenty suggestions. I telling him his game, his best is not enough for the job. He has to do better. He's a nice guy, but nice guy cannot solve the problem. He could be only nice guy. They had to find a different way to solve these things because
Yeah, Dr.
you help
Parada, I
too
could
many
support
people
you there
and I
also on
feel
that.
uncomfortable.
but you
You
see,
know,
Doc, I was saying the same thing, that his abilities are limited.
Right.
But it's
yeah.
bluntly, right?
But
Yeah.
Suman,
But
also when you
Under
start
the
hearing
current structure,
excuses,
maybe he's
this
limited. So
and the
what we
systems,
asking for again? I mean, there's
this
no way that it's humanly possible for the man to sign 10,000 FUL
correct.
applications or
So this is where
20,000. He
this is
cannot handle
when
that and deal with the police management and the police force and oversee all the other things under his
cor-
responsibility.
correct.
I
So
mean,
this is the point.
we are crazy to ask him to do that.
This
yeah,
is the point I'm
that's why it
making,
has to
that
be shifted away
it
to
has to
something
be
more
shifted.
automated. Like Suman mentioned, an AI system. Go ahead, Suman.
That's what I was going to tell you, that he is overloaded with work, one, and the system,
Okay, Marilyn, anytime, let us know when you want to join us. And that goes for anybody else who would like to join the conversation. Go ahead, guys.
remember what I'm saying, the system does not allow him to do otherwise. The system has to be re-engineered and bring in some bright people to assist him. So, unless that is done, for example, a simple thing, okay? He says X amount of people. Can we discuss this before? What is the data saying about? What areas are these 90 people he has held? Where they are from? What is the age bracket? How many males to females? And these, so once you have data like that, then you can identify solutions, and you can identify where your policing concentration should be. Then you could also use your AI to predict where is your next crime going to happen.
So
All
man,
these things.
all that sounds good, but AI cannot read human minds. What
Hey,
AI?
listen, man.
Here's Richard. Here's Richard. Okay. Oh, Richard, how you doing? I didn't expect you to make it back, but thank you for joining us.
I had an emergency there, but it wasn't as bad as
Okay, that's good.
Good,
to know.
good, man.
address. It was right on the road.
Nice.
So,
So let me join back tonight as I promised.
right. So, if you want to finish what you were saying, and then you could tell us what you've been doing in your community, give us a little heads up.
What we were discussing the Venezuela issue. Yeah, it's just it's so funny that these people who are against Kamala in the CARICOM countries, they saying things against the US, but I see one of them backtrack already. Now they thanking US for releasing the restriction. I think there is one island there, and then everybody wants to go to the US. I don't know how Venezuela could help anybody. And the thing about it down here, right, Gary? The PM can't tell Trump who to fight, when to fight, and how to fight.
But exactly, she clarified. She said what's happening with Venezuela and Trump is between Venezuela and Trump, having to do with TNT. We are seeking our interest here.
Of course, and you have to align yourself if it's just in support with someone who could be an asset to you.
But we have a
And
partnership. We have a partnership with the U.S. And look, here is Fitzgerald Hines and I
right,
guess Rowley signing that agreement, and now they're trying to chastise the prime minister. What's she doing?
yeah, yeah.
And
Look
they
at
want
it.
all the details.
That's a hypocrisy.
And you know, basically they're trying to get people to rile up against the government in any which way they
Yeah,
can.
that is what they're doing. And look, the other thing how they're so hypocritical is that the Lisa Morris Julian report with the fire,
Right? Wasn't them in government?
and Penny was in government, was part of that to
Yeah.
hold it. Now you're asking to release it. So the
Oh,
petty
and
politics,
they're suspicious.
yeah. So the petty politics is not. So I think the PM just sort of forget them and just continue to govern as she has been governing. And she's doing a great job so far.
And she's holding us strange. I mean, she's ruling. You know, I wanted to see her. I wanted her to see her rule with an iron fist this time. You know, like I
Well, I
told her
think,
before, no more nice anti-cams. We don't take it. I mean, she have suffered enough insults and ridicule, but you know, over the last
yeah.
years, and it's time that she, you know, don't bow to no foolishness and put everybody in check. You know.
And I
Right.
think she's doing that. And I do hope that the relevant people surrounding her, you know, they are in sync with what she how she wants to govern in terms of advice and information and so on.
Well, she's making very good decisions. She's a highly intelligent lady,
Yeah, of course.
and she has the best interests of the people. I mean, who
Mm.
could argue with that? I mean, if they didn't see that in the last 5 years, and how she how she structured things, and saw what was taken away from them, what she's trying to put back. You know, look at the $100 million with the hospital.
Yeah.
And if you look at the at PNM, in everything that they do, everything they did, they cost us money. It's either somebody sue us or they misspend the money or they can't account for the money. I mean, at what point do we learn? You know, what point do we learn? You know, yeah. Go ahead, Richard.
So you know, basically, I think she has to continue it, and she has ministers, she has advisors. So I do hope all her advisors, everybody's on the same page with her in terms of her vision. Because independent, in addition to the ministers, they are advisors in each and technocrats and so on. That you know, once everybody's on the same page, I think we're in for a good ride for the next 5 years. So I'm not too worried. Matter of fact, I'm waiting. To me, it's beneficial for Maduro to go. So,
well, I mean, if Venezuela starts to flow economically, that could be a plus for us. You know, it could. You know, I mean, they're right there.
Yeah. So basically, that is the issue with Venezuela. I don't think much people worry too much about it. If those veiled threats that the man named Cabello and those guys doing, is just trying to bluff their way around, thinking that, you know, whether the prime minister stay quiet or anything, that is totally independent of what Trump wants to do, how he wants to deal with Venezuela.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see how that could have anything to do with us. Go ahead, gentlemen. Go ahead.
And regardless of the presence on TNT soil, you know, with the U.S. military and equipment, there are agreements in place to facilitate that, right? So again, the PNM should not be asking and pestering and trying to create some argument with regards to the U.S. presence on American soil and use of our airports and so forth. There are agreements that the PNM signed on December 10, 2024. 5 of them, right? SOFA and the ACSA, along with others. Some of them were also modified. So yeah, so they're making a fool of themselves, right? With this whole thing. But Gary, also, I think I saw on the news today, a second oil tanker was seized by the US. one of those oil tankers leaving Venezuela was captured by the U.S. military, and they would probably take that to Houston.
Mhm.
So things are heating up, and as Richard mentioned, in a post-Maduro regime, I think Trinidad is poised to benefit, from an energy standpoint, right? That gas field, the Dragon gas field there, our infrastructure is strategically located, right, to bring that gas, economically bring that gas to the shore, right? And that will also benefit us a lot. So I think I think moving forward, there's a lot of optimism, um, and let us hope that everything ends peacefully, and Maduro will just decide to say, hey, you know what, throw his hat and say, I'm done. And they'll give him
I
the
don't think he's
opportunity
going.
to
I
leave.
don't think he. I don't think Maduro will give up easily. I think what Trump is doing, to convince him by surrounding him there and applying the pressure and the military buildup, they may eventually have to use some kind of force, but that's between him and the U.S. government. We are staying clear of that. Trinidad and Tobago has no involvement, as the Prime Minister have stated clearly. So that's that with them. Let them deal with that. But go ahead, gentlemen.
So the other foolish issue is with the radar in Tobago. I mean, the radar can only be of benefit when you
That's
look at it.
correct. Correct.
It could only be of benefit. So, the hullabaloo about the radar. What is the negative effects of the radar? I don't know.
Well, Richard, you know what? The radar has exposed some people, right?
Exactly.
It has
Hence the reason.
exposed them because now we have to ask the question. We have a piece of equipment that's designed and is strategically positioned there to protect the safety and well-being of the citizens, of all citizens, not PNM or UNC, all citizens, right? Why is it you are so adamant that you want this piece of equipment out of there, right? Now we have to ask the question: are you involved directly, indirectly with this narco transshipment of drugs back and forth, right? Are you somehow involved or supporting this informal economy, right? So they open up a lot of questions by them asking, questions with regards to the radar and equipment and the U.S. military there, So yeah, I mean, it's quite simple. They have to be involved in somehow, some way. And maybe the pipeline, the flow is going to be turned off pretty soon, right? And they will be starved of resources.
I think, as far as I'm concerned, I think the radar can only serve in a positive light.
Certainly. And we had our military expert, Captain Singh. He has close to 20 years in the US, right? He served in Afghanistan, Kosovo. I mean, the man sent me some pictures. I don't want to post it, And, he has been in some real operations, right? I mean, some of the stories we would talk about where his convoy was hit and men were blown to pieces, right? He also built bases in Germany. They were in South Korea, And he said this equipment here, he gave us a rundown on it, and he said this is a big plus. It's there, it's free of charge by the US military, and it's there to serve a purpose, and it's there to protect the people of Trinidad and Tobago in the event, right? But those who are asking questions with regard to this radar and they want it removed, we now have to ask them the question, why? Right? And I think they are exposing themselves.
All I can see that doing is increasing our ability to secure and monitor our border. That is not a weapon. It's not a weapon. Okay? So I mean, any projectile coming our way, it will pick it up. And I mean, with all the vessels and assets that the US have out there, if for say that the decided to shoot something at us, they were fully capable of shooting it down before it reached Trinidad.
That is correct.
Because the amount of equipment and they have out there right now in the ocean that they're gonna definitely can respond, and they will pick it up right away. You know, I'm sure that they geared for all of that, but I don't think Maduro government wants to play that stupid with us. Tell you the truth, because
Gary, that is the same PNM government that failed to secure the country and has failed the citizens when it comes to securing their safety and their well-being, right? Now asking about now being reckless and asking for this radar to be removed. The same PNM government who just last year, right, 2024, right, delivered 624 homicides, right? And 2 years prior to that, a record again of 605 in 2022. So that is the same PNM government who failed the people of Trinidad and Tobago to secure them, their safety and well-being, right? They are now asking about the radar, right? So why should we listen to people who have failed when it comes to securing our borders and securing and ensuring that the people of Trinidad and Tobago are safe, right? So again, what they're saying is baseless. Look at this Port of Spain, 66%. Homicides down by 66% in the Port of Spain division, right? Those are hardcore results. That's the kind of data we want to see, Subad. And we should be broadcasting this data every single time we come on board. We should give a rundown of this, an update, right, of these numbers, because that's hardcore facts there.
Because
it shows the performance.
It allows you to plan better going forward, and that's the thing. You can identify core areas, suspected areas, where the next crime can happen, what type of crime can it be. I don't know if you all recall, when Jack Warner was there in the 2010, 2013 period of time, there was a unit he wanted to bring down to Trinidad that will be able to predict where the next crime was going to be. And they use a lot of different algorithms to determine that. So, you know, we watch a lot of movies around Gary, a lot of movies on crimes and so on. And if there's a serial killer, they tend to predict, and also with a high degree of accuracy, when the next killer is going to, where the next killer is going to operate, where will his next victim, what is he or she going to be look like, and so on. They use algorithms to do these things, you know. So this is what I'm saying. There are certain things we can start to implement, not the easy ones, like screening the applications for the FUL, which commercial at the rate he's going in, he'll probably be able to do 20,000 in 40 years' time, you know. So we all may be dead by that time, who knows?
But you see, in terms of the issuance of firearms, I mean, yes, it comes as a supplement to the stand your ground in terms of giving people the opportunity to have a firearm.
Correct.
But a firearm is to issue a firearm in Trinidad. I mean, I agree with the rigid laws they have there, because how Trinidad firearms are so easily, people access it so easily. Even the license ones. Look how easy they access firearm from even the police and the army to commit crimes. So a normal ordinary citizen, you have to be very, very careful when you are the holder of FUL or the holder of the firearm itself, because it is, excuse me, is a dangerous thing. Hello.
Well, you know,
that's
we mentioned issuing firearms to law-abiding, responsible citizens who are well trained.
Correct.
Not a man drinking rum in a bar and just pull it out and want to play Wild Wild West.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
or a
Unknowing.
police officer, but then it shows that the police and the law enforcement, they need to be trained, right? But yeah, it's a big responsibility. But given what we are dealt with, right? What the PNM dealt us over the past 10 years, we have no choice but to take that risk. Is either you have a firearm to protect yourself, or you find some other means and method. When those guys come break your front door and 4 or 5 men run into your house, as we've been seeing in these videos,
Yeah.
right?
You see,
a whole wagon full of them
difference,
coming out.
the difference with that, like for instance, like in a country like Trinidad, where it is like most of it is village settings. When I say village settings, is that people tend to know who live where, right? Like where in the States, something where you guys live, you may not know your neighbor, you don't know who's living where, and they may not want to go into a place because they're not sure who may have a firearm or what, how the response would be. But in a case like in these rural areas, you kind of know, hey, his uncle and the old lady living there with, you know what I mean? So they could target where to go, and if a firearm is in that house, in that situation it could be a little dangerous. So they're targeting, but I think at the end of the day, it's good that people could access it if they are trained properly, if they are given, pass all the requisites and so on, to have that opportunity to defend themselves.
But
Absolutely.
the thing about it is we need a combination of things to work together. The firearm, yes. The police collaboration, the police fully resourced, the police effective patrolling and response. These are more important than the actual. I mean, if the police is doing their job to the extent that it becomes less necessary for you to use that firearm.
Most important, Gary, is the process. We have to get that process down to a T, because a 5-year can pass and very little could have been achieved on this aspect.
You mean the process to acquire the FUL?
Yes. And how long it takes from the time of application to the time of actually getting a firearm.
So sometimes that process, yes, I agree with you that it could be hastened, but sometimes that process is stalled even by the applicant themselves. Because
so exactly what I recommended. I'm saying, let's say you have 10 criteria to get a FUL, right? A person that can be scanned very, very easily and quickly. Because I don't know if any one of you guys know.
Hold up. Let's hear the politician make it first. Hold on.
Okay.
What's that, Gary?
You were saying the process can be stalled by the applicant themselves. I wanted to understand where you were going with that.
Well, someone was saying it good too. So if there are criteria to meet, and sometimes the criteria are not met, some of it is on the applicant, and whereas some is on the state or the police, because there are certain areas. I went through the process. I understand it. I understand it well.
So this okay. I'll make my point.
What I'm saying, someone is that sometimes you have to get a wife that'll come and your wife,
and that's important. These things are important.
You gotta go for a psychoanalysis test.
Yes, psychometric testing and what have you.
Yeah, so sometimes the people stall on these things themselves.
Correct.
Then the other part too, where it reach on somebody that's to go for investigation, it's stalled it. So there should
the process. My question is: the process you have to re-engineer a process to make this a priority. Quickly and efficiently as possible.
Well, we need our government to speed up that restructuring quickly, because next thing we know, 5 years reach, and this thing is in jeopardy.
You also have to get
So Gary,
1500 applicants.
Gary, I just got a call from my son there. I will have to leave in 10 minutes.
All
to go
right.
back
So
to
you want to
any
give us
emergencies.
a quick rundown on what you're
Yeah, so
doing,
if
so we know.
anything you want me to speak on, let me know so that we can do it.
Well,
Sorry about
let
today.
me just. I saw you doing some stuff there. I had the video a little while ago. Hold a second. Let me just run it here. Just give us a little update. You tell us what you.
Nam and Pony Street residents finally got their long-awaited road restoration and paving works. These repairs have alleviated flooding and uncomfortable driving factors, thanking the councillor and Chaguanas Borough Corporation for these improvements.
So if you could take a couple minutes and give us a little
Right.
update.
So there's a project in if you know the Hinking area in Cunupia. That's about a little south of Monroe Road. The Hinking area, a project people have been complaining. So you would have seen the condition of it was somewhat kind of impassable. So I was able to submit that in as a project in the last financial year. So we got some funds to do it. So it was able to be done just before this financial year. We got the allocation, so the project was able to be done.
Richard, I have a little question, if you don't mind.
Sure.
How you all have done any projections as far as planning how you are going to tackle flooding early next year? During the dry season at least, or costing, or what areas and so on you all are focusing on?
So the flooding is tackled from two levels. The localized level in terms of the electoral districts, and then the national level, on the bigger scale through the Ministry of Works. So our part as the corporation is where we try to dredge all the ravines, we try to clean all the water courses, so that there could be no blockages and so on.
That's at the local level.
And the national level is where they have all these big excavators draining the main water courses.
The
rivers and so on, and trying to desal them and so on. So if everything if the two work and we could get progress in both areas, I think flooding will be something that we could probably make a lot of progress into.
But do you know if there's coordination and planning going into this?
With this new minister she's very hands-on, she's very proactive, and she understands the advantage we have with Ms. Amin as local government minister is that she has been through the ground. She came up the ranks as a councillor, and then she was chairman of the Tarapana Regional Corporation, and then she was shadow minister. So she has a lot of knowledge and understanding about a local government. So she's definitely an asset. The thing about it is the only thing that can keep back progress is resources. If enough resources are given to
this is where I was going. Have you all procured or planning to procure early mean we don't start the process next to procure things, and the procurement comes through in June when the flooding starts again.
So how it happens is that so we into the financial year 25-26 now, right?
Correct.
So we would have had to submit estimates for project since February this year.
Last week, correct, yes.
February. So all those projects and things would have been submitted based on what we would have recommended, and based on they would give us a certain amount of money only.
Correct.
To submit projects on that. So ours really just smaller projects. Like the corporation may get $10 million only to divide among the councillors to do projects with roads and box trade and so on. So it's minimal, because for the year, let me tell you the reality of it, right? When we submit estimates, for each financial year, we may get about 4 box drain and about three
You get
road pages.
about 20% of your requests.
Less than that, because when I submit,
I'm aware, yeah. I used to do budgeting, yeah. So
Right.
I, can,
So, I would submit. Everybody asks, I submit it. And then they come down, you submit 30 projects, you get 3.
Then you meet your Minister of Finance and say, nah, your 20 projects now, you cut it down to 2 or 3 for me.
Yes, based
Then,
on
see, now this is what I'm getting at. Then the same problem could very well come back next year again, the same flooding, because the 2 or 3 you may have selected may not be the 2 or 3 that is causing the problem. You understand?
The thing is, the ministry has to step in. They are the ones who can get funds. They can step in and do the main projects, and the smaller ones that we will have equipment and so on. If they purchase extra excavators and so on, we can.
Right. So these things are in train, I guess.
Yeah.
That these requests are laid because the submission of requests for proposal and blah blah blah, requests for equipment takes time. You have to get your 3 quotes and blah, the whole process.
Okay, yeah. But that is procurement. Once we get the funds, those things are.
Hopefully going in, I mean, might not be going forward, maybe in a year or 2, things could change, depends on how we get the economy flowing. I know that will come by. But Ken, what I want, Richard, is when Ken gets back to Trinidad, I want him to link up with you.
Sure.
You can get first-hand knowledge and you guys could chat a little bit.
Sure, not a problem.
All right, so that's
Definitely,
something
definitely.
in the new year, I want Ken to link up with you.
Definitely, Richard. When I get there, I'll give you a call.
Yeah, do that. So, Gary, I want to leave in 5 minutes. So let us look at the hamper and let me just tell you something about it. Do you have the video there?
Yeah. Let me pull this up now. Yeah, hold on a second. 1 second.
I'll just talk 2 minutes on that.
Yeah. Let's go forward. Yeah, this one. I think this is it here.
As we celebrate the Christmas season of joy and happiness, the Cunupia counselor reaches out in meeting some basic needs to the Burgesses through the distribution of food gifts. These hampers were delivered, the family's doorstep and through the counselor's office. This festive season, we are about making life a bit lighter with some Christmas joy.
Every time parent season comes along, day and night I hearing the same old song. As I pick up me quattro to go with the boys. Before I hit the door, you start making noise. When they see I'm trying something new, I'm staying home with you. All the chores I helping you do. I'm tired of the complaining, the constant tongue lashing. So when they come for me, I want you go with me. Wayo, then you go see how the parents have me. Wayo, now you go know why I love my parents so. Wayo, just come along, you do bound to love this song. Wayo, then you go know why I love my parents so. Wayo, hey, come go, get it. Wayo, come go, yeah.
Okay, Richard, you can go ahead.
Right. What we do, I try, like when during the course, when people call in and so on, right? I try to make a little database of those who are in need. So people may call in September, October, whatever, requesting stuff. We don't really have much to give at times. So I try to compile a list of those people who and then we try to see how best we get some corporate sponsors and what we can get from the corporation and so on to do it. So this situation with giving, gentlemen, you're damn if you do and you're damn if you don't, because that video, sometimes I'm reluctant to put it out, but if you don't put out what you do, then you're on the risk of people saying you do nothing. And when you put out now, some of the comments, you say, what about me? You didn't pass by me. You didn't give me. You didn't, you know. So there is a difficult thing to reach out to everybody who in need. So hence the reason we try to do a database of people who call in, or some people who I may know during the course of my tenure that in need that we give. So the corporate people, some of them some of them give, and then we purchase hampers and so on and do the distribution. But at the end of the day, you know, the Bible says the poor you will always have with you. You know, Jesus said that, and that is something that is so. So we try to do as best as how much we can do, and bring in a little ease to some of the lesser fortunate citizens, and we continue to do that.
Yeah, well, hopefully, you know, we are hoping that we could make the economic strive, and our government can really make the accomplishments that we want to, in helping to better the people's lives. And I know our Prime Minister and our government making a reattempt to do so. You know, so things will improve. You know, going forward, and you know,
Yeah, it will, because she has taken all the grants and so on under the office of the Prime Minister now. So she wants to personally ensure that whatever measures and things that this government is doing,
the right people.
done properly. So I think she increasing the social program, the Children Life Fund is back, these type of things. So I think, you know, she's that type of compassionate leader that she will see how best the resources reach out to those who really need it. So, gentlemen,
thank you very much, Richard. You know, and all the attempt I've made to really raise funds to assist you guys, it didn't work out. But hopefully that changed too. But
yeah, don't worry. The important thing is support is there, and we work together as a team and whatever best we think.
And the channel is always here for you guys. Anytime, you know, like I said, a moment notice, we can put you live. Anything you want to say. Suman, any guys you want to say anything before Richard goes? I know you got to go.
Excellent job there, Richard. Keep up the good work.
All right. Well, we're trying. We're trying to do. We try what to do. And
Yes,
when you
that's
guys come on to that, feel free to call me anytime and we'll link up.
Yeah,
right?
Suman is
Same
there
here.
now, so you guys could connect with him. He's there now.
Okay.
So.
All right. So, gentlemen,
Okay.
good night, and we'll keep in touch.
Take care.
Thank
Have a
you
good
very
one.
much.
Okay.
Go ahead, guys.
Yeah, Gary. The reason I'm asking these questions, because, you know, exactly what he's saying is
Yeah,
quite
but
true.
you down there, you could chat with him. You know, he was a little limited there, but you link up with him now when you get a chance to, and we could chat a little more too. Yeah, but go ahead.
Yeah, there's a process, and the process is what keeps back the system. And the who is in charge of the process? Can you tell me? The permanent secretary is in charge of the process. So let's say you want to buy an excavator. Minister has no say on that excavator. The permanent secretary will tell you you need to get a minimum of 3 quotes, 3 bona fide suppliers, and this kind of way. And you get 2, and you can't get a 3rd one, so it holds up the process. Next thing, the funds for this quarter has not been released as yet. So you end up making the request very, very early, and by the time you get it approved, the rainy season is already here. And
Yeah, I'm
that's
getting
my
that started.
question.
Fix your mic. However, you get some static. But
Okay.
But besides
This is
the gimmicks with the PNM, you know, we know within a year or two, a lot of things is going to improve because our government will be able to penetrate the system, and we'll be able to get the necessary finances in the right direction. Hopefully, we can grow the economy in the way. I mean, our refinery is going to take 3 years to get in order, according to what they said. They might be able to do it faster. If you know, going down the road, that could change, but the guesstimated time is about 3 years based on the level of damages and restructuring has to be done. right? So we gotta guesstimate on that. So let's hope for the best on that. But the good news is that and the surety is that Kamala is prime minister, and we don't have that arrogant government there. So that is the plus on our side. And I mean, I mean, she would not hold back any good thing from our people. So the main thing is to communicate. Let her know, and remind her, and then we will move forward with that. Go ahead, gentlemen.
Gary, you said it right there. We were free falling, and the UNC government, led by the Honorable Prime Minister, rescued the country. So the country was actually rescued from a free fall. And now we are going to build from the ground up. So moving forward, I see a lot of optimism and hope for a
Yes,
better
I
Trinidad, better,
share
safer
that
Trinidad and
view.
Tobago.
I share that view, Ken. I definitely share that view, but I think it will take time, a lot of time in our case, because you have to convince the people themselves. If the people don't change their attitude with anything for work and the way they work, the way they travel, the way they party, and you got to change the productivity levels in this country big time. I mean, Tanku, my MP here says that he loses 7 hours a day in traveling. 3.5 hours from Faizabad to Port of Spain in the morning and the same in the evening time. 7 hours of production loss. So what I'm saying is productivity has to be increased. You could do it in a number of ways, as you suggested. We can do, work out of homework, work out of offices close by. Let's say working in the Ministry of Health. Why should you go to Port of Spain every day? You can work.
Satellite office,
Correct.
and maybe we could convince the finance minister how essential that causeways is to build north to south.
Correct. That is the point I'm making.
Right, Ken.
That,
But let's capitalize on what is readily accessible, like you say, guys, the low hanging fruits. What can we do?
yeah.
We just have to restructure how we operate, and we can do these things. We have to make these things,
Things that do
arrangements,
not things
reorganize ourselves,
yeah,
improvise.
things that do not require too much or heavy capital injection. You know, we can start with the low hanging fruits first.
Listen, with all good intentions, you have to be reminded there are lots of people who needs food right now, and this is something that I'm very serious about because I get the call that I didn't get.
And the feedback I got over this past week was the same. The same. Hey, we need food card, we need hampers. These things, hey, they're going to stop, So how do you arrest a
Like I
situation
told
like that?
as of now, I'm scrambling to get a few hampers here and there to meet those needs. So we'll talk more about that off here.
Right,
Definitely,
right.
definitely.
Yes.
So I don't know. It would seem that this gentleman you just spoke to, apparently he's from the county council or something like that, right?
He's part of, he's the councillor for Columbia area, the Shogunas Borough Corporation.
Borough. Okay, that's the what? Borough Corporation of Caroni? I don't know what the name is.
Shogunas.
Right. Okay. So for what he's saying, I was listening to him. Apparently, he says that they submit for 5 projects and they get only 3.
20. He submitted 20.
Yeah, submit 20 and they get 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that might be the same with all corporations across the board.
Yeah, it's a process. That's where the process is.
There's no process. It's just that
No,
it's just
no,
that they have
no.
nothing. It's just that they have nothing important to do. That is why they're not getting any money. because why duplicate? Because they already have the Ministry of Works who does all the roads and everything, and these people want to do roads too. And what you want to give for what? So the Amina girl, the Minister of Local Government, I guess she will get a budget and then she would allocate to these county councils on what their portion will be, or some kind of relationship. It's trickled down from a minister. So really, these people are useless because they have no use for them really. Now, the point I wanted to let you all know why I'm saying these things is because if they cannot incorporate themselves, they are useless. Because they must be able. This gentleman said the money he needed money to have the hamper. But once he get the hamper, he has to select certain people, and everybody can't get the hamper, and blah blah blah. All those sad stories. Why not? Because at one point I was in charge of the homeowners in Arima. I think I mentioned this to you all sometime in the past. And a company wanted to give me a building, but I couldn't take the building because I was not registered to own as ownership. So if these county councils cannot take a building that you're giving them, what power do they have other than just being another arm of a ministry, just collecting cash and allocating it how they see fit themselves? So if they couldn't raise their own cash, they don't have much use really, because I mean this money is all so I think that they should spend their time trying to how they could reorganize these county councils so they can be better serve their community. They have a role to play. They have an important role to play. But under this current setting, that's a waste of time. They're not really helping, and nobody is not really helpful. Because
That's why
I wanted to ask him, can he borrow? Can he take a loan? But the answer would be no, he can't, because I guess the regulation, the law won't allow him to take a loan.
that's right. The process is the problem. That's where everything sticks. They will quote the laws for you.
Even in the British Council, I think the British Council have some powers to get cash. Other than depending on the government, the councils run a lot of houses. The way they organize, Trinidad organized by the council, the English council, but the English council can own property. They do their own projects and they do buildings and they do their own building and how much they own and how much. Trinidad have not adjusted from the colonial days, and even though they have been ever so often, the PNM never wanted any change other than to follow the colonial system and live within it.
Now you get to the point. This is what the same point as me.
They are Afro-Saxons people, and they believe in that. And you look at them, you go to the long history.
But gentlemen, what I'm saying to you, beside the restructuring, right, we have the challenges of finding the funding right now. And with the PNM bankrupting the country, spending the money that they cannot give us or refuse to give us any accountability, we have the challenges are worse now than it when we took over in 2010. So we have to generate that revenue stream, and this is where you come in, Dr. Marat.
So I hope, and that is why I'm saying that this government has to be there for 15 years for all these things you all mentioned are very necessary. Some of you talk about the low-hanging fruit. Some of you just talk about the project, the capital project versus the current project, which is that's the language I use. So you also separate a capital project from your recurrent expenditures, which is what you were saying just now, Cement.
Yeah. So I've been through the process. I know the delay. I know the pain points, as we see. No, it means restructure. And what he said is quite true. I have to go through the same thing. If I want to buy 100 computers, I will have to, let's say in the month of February, I have to put up my request for 175, not 120. And you have to justify why you need 175, even though I really need 120, because there's no way you get basically 20% of what you ask for.
So let me just finish up, because I have three things I really want to put on the card. I'm really putting it out there for you all to think, because you can't answer these questions I'm going to raise, and I will leave you with it. We'll come back another day. So when Robinson had taken, I'm saying Robinson, but the NAR had taken over, some of these modifications were attempted. For example, ministries couldn't take checks. They had to come with either cash or a certified banker's check, whatever they call it in Trinidad. There is called a cashless check in Trinidad, they call it here. Or the post office is to sell something, you could take it. So they were not accepting cash and checks, private checks, in other words, because against the regulation. Of course, we had to wait to change that regulation. Then I started receiving checks because I was responsible for opening in San Fernando, Texas, opening an extramural studies department down there, which I started and which I don't know how many years they continued and how if it's still there or not. But I started that. So we were taking checks were now being accepted. So what I'm saying, some little changes that could happen. So they allow these county councils to do more than depending on government, because government are lazy and cannot get anything done. They are not good people. They are bad people, all of them. You heard me say this before. Having said that, I want to move to, so we'll some other time we could come back to that because I have something more I could say on those things, but maybe the counselor would have been a nice one to give me his feedback on that. But so the second point I want to raise is the one you all mentioned tonight, and I was listening carefully what you all were saying. I think Ken was talking about it would be so nice that if we could regime change in Venezuela, everything's so nice and dandy. Don't run, not too fast, Ken. Hold on. So if let us assume that everything normalized in Venezuela and we get back, they come back into the fold and they're accepting them as a normal, which will be the benefit of America and Ken said Trinidad also and maybe other countries as well. The boats that they are mounting and pirating in the West Indies now, those boats with tanker with oil, really, I think one was going to China, the other one was going to. China only depends on 4% of the oil from Venezuela. So it's not so if they stop all the oil going to China, China would still probably have to ramp it up a little more from Russia and they'll get back the quota. We have the quota to make. So that's not a big thing. So here's what will happen. The price of oil today closed in the international market as $56 up, $56.25 a barrel. That used to be 2 weeks ago, it was 60 something, now it's 50, 56. If all these oil come on stream, like for example, suppose the European, and which in my head very well soon, the war stops in the Middle East and Europe. That's the war with Russia and Ukraine. That stops, so that more oil will come to the market, and then Venezuela oil comes to the market. You know what the price of oil is going to be if this continues like this? The price of oil will be $40 a barrel or less. Trinidad would be hardly making break even on that price. Venezuela was, because last night I was telling you they're the third most expensive oil production in the world. Britain is the first, followed by Nigeria, followed by Venezuela. At $40 a barrel, many Venezuelan companies would not be able to make a cash. All these companies, that is why Chevron is caught up in this thing. Chevron is right now in there. They're caught up in this scenario. Whenever this happens, you'll find the price of oil will go way below Trinidad oil. Luckily, like I was saying last night, luckily the price of gas is not falling, but that usually follow the crude oil when a big crash starts to happen, when it starts to get lower and lower. So with all these discoveries that America is looking for more and more oil, that price of oil will fall so badly that we'll go back to one of those days that will come, and that might draw in a recession. So by the time all these things come into play, I'm saying these things because you have to use assumptions, and if your assumptions are wrong, your model is going to be wrong. So all is nice to print, but you have to think beyond the box a little bit and realize that all these things are going to be nice, but they would not be so great after all. This is not going to end up well. But however, these things have a way of, once the market rules, they have a way of clearing themselves out. And that leads me to the third point about markets, and it was the last thing I was going to say tonight. It has to do with the way the UNC has to deal with this problem. The problem of foreign exchange. Doesn't seem to be getting any better soon, like all these scenarios are just laid out. That if all this oil come to the market, the price of oil will fall. Like I said, today was $56 a barrel. Tomorrow, who knows, it might be a little lower. So Trinidad will have a problem with the foreign exchange because it may not be, and they need foreign exchange to buy certain essential items. For example, you all mentioned the AI. You can't, if you don't have foreign exchange, forget your AI. There goes your AI. There goes your 180,000, whatever 80,000 laptop they bring in. They have to pay them in US dollars. So if you have a drain on the currency, you have to devalue. My best bet is to devalue the damn currency and let it go. But not so fast. Because while I'm saying I believe in free market, you are third world country still, and you don't have all the dynamics to deal with free market. So if you're going to free market, you got. I'm saying go free market, but I'm still saying question mark, because even though I'm direct free market, but is the best way to go. It doesn't mean that third world countries should rush and pell-mell, especially like Trinidad, who have learned to depend on government for so many years. So the point I'm making, and you all can take it from here, whatever, because this wouldn't be solved tonight. I am suggesting the free up the dollar, but with an open eye to predict, not to wait for it to happen. That if you float the dollar and you realize in difficulty, you have to stop it right away. The Jamaica dollar was large when this began. They were larger than the United States dollar, and that doesn't mean anything, but it just was larger. Today, I think it's right now it's floating at 120, 6, somewhere around there. No, I think it's a 50 or 60. It was 125. I think they're about so. But can Jamaica does not have a foreign exchange problem right now. Whenever there's a problem, come the central bank intervenes and keep it at a certain level, but they're not too much managed float. Trinidad was doing the wrong thing. They have a managed float, but the central bank is set it at a fixed rate. So you have your managed float, but you manage it so much that it become fixed. So they have a fixed rate, really, technically. That's what they're doing. That's why they kept it. When I gave them a report the other day, and I told them that was in December going by, I told them it should be at around, I think I said it was $7.82 to $8.04. Some people were getting higher numbers, some were getting lower, but I was getting between $7.82 and $8.88, and that was in December. I have not run the model to see what it should be now. But I don't know what price is going to be, but you have to watch out that it could very well reach in a year time, go to 100 if you don't have your eyes on it. And if the price will start to fall away, Trinidad and Tobago has to manage a float the foreign exchange. They're going to have a real serious problem with this. So the PNM is saying never do it, don't ever do it. The UNCs had not pronounced themselves, although they were saying they were not doing it before. The UNC in the manifesto, when they were the platform, they were saying that they will not devalue the US dollar, the Trinidad dollar. So I don't know if it still hold on to that, but I think one of the papers somebody talked about this morning, the Chamber of Commerce, which is a very powerful business lobby in Trinidad, they are saying they should float the dollar. I am saying that you should have a process before you float. Have a phase 2 and a phase 2 before you get the full float. In other words, I am suggesting to gradually go towards that, towards the float, because the only way you can really correct your problem is to have a free float. If Trinidad has a strong economy, they have nothing to worry about, but they're not strong as yet, and we don't know if they will get strong. Hopefully they will. But if all these things are happening, like if I'm not kind of saying that let's have this nice smooth and get along. You see, his assumption is the problem is only if we only correct the problem between the United States and in Venezuela, and we have the right government, we'll be so happy that we'll reap all the oil. We'll flush with oil. My dear, that's nice, but you flush with oil and the price jumped to $28 a barrel. You will regret. So that's all. I'm just throwing this thing out. I have no solution. I only have ideas, and I think from ideas will come solutions. I think from ideas will come solutions.
Well, we definitely give it some thought, and we will have to convene again to put some, meat on the bones.
Right.
But so definitely those are good questions, and we will try to clarify it and try to bring some discussions.
Yeah, because they have a problem with foreign exchange, and they have to deal. That will be on their table. This is in their time. This is their problem. They have to. This is an inherited problem. They have to deal with it. And you all, meaning you all of us, you all and all of us, Trinidad people in particular. I mean, we live in America. Trinidad people in particular have to deal with this problem. It wouldn't go away. Just like the crime, even though I'm not like the boast is coming down, but people still are feeling very unsafe. So all if so, there's another problem you're dealing with. So the statistics alone is good enough, but it would not help. What will help is the commissioner has, or somebody has to do so that the people. It takes time. They will heal. That is why I'm saying this government has to be in there for 15 years, because one of the worst thing will happen, like I was telling you, where Robinson went in and he was
55, not
experimenting.
15, 55.
Yeah, he was experimenting with all these things because the change that the NAR made, they started the ball rolling and the PM rolled it back. That is why we have so much difficulty. And you say 10, a decade of lost decade. It's a lost decades, lost years that this PM should not have been there. The people in Trinidad is responsible for the problem. They caused the problem. They had to fix it themselves. Those of us who didn't stay and stick it out because we had options outside. Some of you tonight, I think last night, whatever night you were talking about the Indians in America, building America, and then they wanted. Listen, Trinidad people are industrious people. They have a small percentage that you have to live with, but generally, by and large, look at this gentleman tonight. He is going to raise hamper for the poor people, or I don't know who, poor, rich, or whatever you come, but for the I think he said Burgesses. I guess those people live in it. So he's doing this out of the goodness of his heart. Good people, that's fine. Except that I'm saying that they could do better than what they're doing, because I could have tell him how Suraj did it, how Suraj Ramachan did it, and he didn't depend on the government either. What are your churches doing? So you're doing these things, you're begging for money. What about your churches? What about your full gospel people have a lot of money? They have money. They want to come. So what I'm saying is they have a way they could get around some of these things. Your mandir and your mosque, they could help you chip in some money to, so they have a way they could raise their own cash and do what they have to do. But this government would tell them they have money. What was the government would tell them they have money? If you think under the PNM didn't get it, it wouldn't be much better under the UNC. It wouldn't be much better either. Because then you will see the marching in Port of Spain saying their corporation don't get any money and they're sending all tyranny. So they get nothing. So they march. They give a good reason to march. I hope they have money to buy sneakers. I see the Nike price drop again today. The Nike going under. Now they're having difficulty in meeting this. So they need the Nike need the money. So buy sneakers, guys. Nike need the cash. Trinidad people are talking to. Which you may know, I don't know how much I'm listening, but I really mean that the Trinidad, meaning that like the Nike, buy the Nike because Nike needs some money these days. So guys, those 3 points I'll leave with. One about the councillor, and that's something we should never stop talking about, because really the county councils are doing such a great job, better than the federal government, the city, the national government. But they don't know how, they're not allowed to raise their own cash. I think they give them a chance to, at least, like I said, that when I was in this thing, they want to give me a building, but I couldn't take ownership because my association does not allow me to have private ownership of anything. So I couldn't. I don't think I take a lease even. You couldn't sign any property in your name. It's not, the law does not allow you. So in the same thing with them, they cannot raise no cash unless they don't allow them to. They depend on the government for everything on that. Earlier on, Robinson came, they changed that. They say you go down and write the cash. You could raise your own cash. Never mind depend on government. That's fine. Go and raise your own cash too, because if you raise the more cash you raise, the less I have to give you. So the NAR government give the services. Go in and raise your own. Do your own thing. Raise your own cash. The more you raise, the less I have to give you. So raise your own cash.
Doc, but the cash was not an issue under UNC, It's the PNM created the money. The problem with the money here. Because, I mean, for the 2020, 2015, our corporation was getting the cash. They was getting all the equipment. They was getting all the support from the central government. Is the PNM play the games with the cash? Right? We don't want the corporation to raise their own cash because that will create a strain on homeowners. That's the structure that we have here. That's why we have so many senior citizens out there, homes in the United States that end up in an old age home or senior citizen home or or something like that. So we don't want that. Encourage corporation municipalities to raise their own cash. The structure we have is nothing wrong with it. The problem is the management of the funds and the games. You know. But we will talk more on that. I want to thank everyone for joining us, gentlemen. I know Suman been here for a while. Suman, anything else to say, you and Ken?
Well, I agree with Dr. Large extent. Keep on saying the same thing. The process needs to be changed. It needs to be restructured.
Local
This,
government reform, but we still don't want to go into that property tax category
no,
where
no,
you tax
we
in the
don't.
homeowners, because the
We don't
damn
want to
P
go
and
in.
them don't know how most of we get we homes our parents are
That,
sacrificed
that's
for,
right.
okay, and we ain't giving
That's
them that
right.
opportunity at all.
Correct. But the
Because
process, they have
I
to
know how much body and
re-engineer it.
say my mother plant, and I know how much
Same thing
concrete she
again.
mixed when the laborer didn't want to show up for work even though you're paying him.
Look,
But
Gary,
Gary,
we used to,
land tax was
we had a,
collected.
yeah, we had a
Yeah.
cocoa and coffee estate, and it was cheaper for us not to pick the cocoa and coffee because special works came in at the same time, and it was costing us more in labor to pick the cocoa and the coffee. So we just left the estate, let it rot on the tree. So that is a similar situation where the wage labor has outstripped the selling price of the commodity. And that is happening in basically to Trinidad right now. The labor cost, compare that with the productivity or the output level, are low, very low. So people have to ship up, and that the administration needs to convince people and say, hey, you need to work for your damn money. You can't earn money under false pretenses anymore. And the public servant give you all the damn excuse. They come in late, they use the traffic as the excuse, then they have to go and get breakfast. They don't start work before 10 or 10:30. By the time that they're looking for lunch, the office closed for lunch. These things still have to,
But
it's still there.
we have to demand some improvement in the level of services from
Exactly the
them
point.
with the cash that they get in. There can't be free money
Exactly.
and no responsibility.
This is what it has to be pegged. It has to be pegged to a certain output level. And this is the thing which we are facing: a low productivity, a higher wage now, and it's the same old. Christmas come, carnival come, money done, back to square one again. So these processes have to be re-engineered to make it more efficient. Yeah,
So,
that's
but
my
the
thing.
land tax. Let me just tell you about the land tax. The land tax was collected by the county councils,
Mm-hmm.
but they never. This is sent it to Port of Spain, inland
Consolidated
revenue.
fund. It
But
went to the
they collect.
consolidated.
They don't have. I don't think they have land tax anymore. But the land tax was collected by the county council, by the village, Victoria, whatever county council you belong to.
Mm-hmm.
Just like so they don't have that anymore. So Gary's saying that the house tax. I'm not suggesting any. I'm not giving them any ideas. They could raise if they raise funds and they raise funds the wrong way, they'll be thrown out of office. So they have to know how they're raising their funds if they're going to have land house tax or land tax or what have you. That is a decision that they must make themselves. So we're not going to outlaw nothing. But you could very well say no house tax, and the federal government could say tax anything but no house tax or whatever, something like that. We have solution. What I'm saying is that we know it is not working now, and we have to show that it's not working now. And this current system is not working now. They have to
It's
find
not
another way.
working because the damn central government squander the money between their friends, family, and associate. And like we see with the last CPEP situation here, that people was collecting large sum of money and not doing the damn job, right? So the money was squandered, the work wasn't done, or it was poorly done. So these with UNC in government now, we have seen more effective management, and we're going to see more effective management because we have people like Jolene John and we have Khadija Amin, right? And these are two key people
that really into the job and will get the job done, and they will manage effectively, and you will see a drastic thing. What we focusing now on is driving our local economy. I mean, making all the international connection. We're making drastic progress. Dr. Munilal is making drastic progress with the oil business. And the thing about Venezuela has more oil than Saudi Arabia, as I've seen recently, right? Venezuela not only has oil, it's a very large country, and we have the entire South and Central America to deal with. If we can really put things together and work with those countries, you know what I mean? So,
I'm
And
shutting up, guys. I'm out.
and just to take some point again about the work ethics in Trinidad. The work ethics is a terrible one, and it may not be across the board, but certain elements in society doesn't want to work. Or want to work, they want job, but they can't perform productively, and they
Yeah.
But so
Fully.
you all were saying last night. So based on that, you were saying last night that the Chinese must employ local labor. And my thing is, the Chinese were saying that if you're going to want me to employ local labor, then I would have to charge you $500 million more for the project.
Mm-hmm.
So they will sit down in the cabinet and they will say, this is this is the tender we have. But the Chinese say they're charging $1 billion less. But they're telling you that they want to have their own employees. And then the chief minister would say, okay, that makes sense. A whole $1 billion. Okay, we let them bring their workers then. Let them bring them. We're saving $1 billion. Okay. And the Chinese want that because they bring their workers from China, they work them 48 hours a night. You make them overwork, they give them 6 hours sleep, and they get the job done, and they go. Everybody happy, and they go home. But you don't want it to work with the Trinidad workers. It's better you bring your own workers, or else they will charge. If you want us to use your local workers, we'll charge you $1 billion more. So the PNM government will go along. Any government might very well go along with that. Bring your own workers, that's fine. How much people are you going to employ? 100 people? Bring 100 people, that's fine. We won't get 100 people, we won't get a job. We'll be saving that billion we save. We could employ our own people at the minimum rate, put them in CPF and we use them. So all 100 people will get employed anyway too at the same time because the savings will cover for that. So the opportunity costs and those kinds of stuff we're talking about. So you all said that last night and you're saying again today about our ethic. Which is one of the problems that the Indians had when they come here with Point Lisa. That's when they had to leave with the last contract. The last contract they were making with the union, whatever union or whoever it was. They couldn't sign the agreement because they would prefer to go out of business. So the government say, well, if you can't pay or whoever the union, they side with the union and they pack up. The Indian company pack up and they walk away. And they went back. They went pick up the things and they gone. They abandoned. In fact, they have leave stuff and they gone away because you can't. We have to work away. We have to make a profit here. And if you have people with union and doing this and doing that and have all these kind of perks, we can't make it. So they run away. So that you all made that point last night, and I think you were making the point again today about the work ethic, and I think I should rub that in. But you all know anyway. Just when you're talking, I'm reminding you that your logic have to be consistent across the board. That's all I'm saying. Which you all are doing. But good night, everybody.
All right. I
Done,
think we
right?
should.
Ken,
I think we need to really focus on the waste and cut and eliminate the waste.
Yes.
Consolidate and return value for money, and I think we'll be fine.
Right.
So that's my final word.
Sure. So good night, everybody.
Good night, guys.
Gary?
Sumat, Gary.
Where's somebody gone?
Is there Gary?
Yeah, I'm here. So we will say good night and then probably decide on tomorrow or whatever we're going to do.
No problem.
Right,
All right,
okay,
guys.
man.
Have a good night. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.